Hello there, everybody. This is Lance, the Lance Read. I'm here to show you how to upload Trisha the HellCat. I have fixed the project. Um, for some reason, one of the updates broke the main body material, so I went back and fixed it, and I went ahead and updated all of the face tracking, the shaders, and updated to the most recent darks, as well as 3.10.3. Because in this video, I'm also going to show you how to make a dynamic floor collider. So it's pretty easy. Very important to note, these are the things that you will need. You will need Audio Leak, Avatar 3.0, Gesture Editor. Even if you don't use it, you still need it. Otherwise, the script logic will possibly mess up. I mean, if you don't have face tracking, you will need face tracking in there. The most recent Poyomi Toon Shader, Pumpkin Avatar Tools, you need that in there. Thrice Avatar Performance Tools, Darks Avatar Optimizer. Everyone should be using this. Like I use it. It makes avatars that kind of run bad work fucking phenomenal, because it does a lot of stuff that's a lot harder to do on the fly. So this pretty much does that deal. So it reduces mesh and material count and all that jazz. As well as fixing animation layers and stuff like that. Not safe for work locomotion, you need that. And then you also need VRC Fury. This is actually the most important part. You need 1.1240.0. No higher than that. In fact, you probably shouldn't be using anything higher than this on your VRC Furies, because they have proceeded not to give us the ability to choose what gets compressed and what doesn't. And until they fix that, I will not be proceeding that, because I do not want to compress by on-demand toggles. I just want radial toggles to be compressed, because those are all like customization options. So that's the only thing I really want compressed. I don't want my toggles compressed. Like if I don't have enough room for it, then I will do something else. It's fine. Anyways, anything after this, will it work? Yes. However, a lot of your toggles and stuff will be out of sync because of the way they compress it. I do not think it was a good idea to not be have an option to where you can't choose what it compresses, what it doesn't. So you don't know if it gets compressed or not. And if it compresses like a regular toggle, is it gets put into the blend tree, and you'll have a lot of desync. Customization radials, I don't think that's that big of a deal as far as latency. Mainly because it's mainly for looks, like cues, like outfit changes, stuff like that. That's fine if it's not quite synced up, right? So, like the things that you cannot upload this without is this, 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 and this. And obviously those are pretty much a given. And that. Pumpkin Avatar Tools, technically you should be able to upload it without it. However, I have run into issues where it not being in the project made it to where it errored. Again, script logic. Then Thrice, Avatar Performance Tools. Shouldn't actually need it, but you should be using it anyways to compress your textures. It just makes it easier overall. I was like, oh, that's cheating. I'm like, I'm sorry, but would you rather use a handsaw to cut a piece of wood or a bandsaw? Like, it's the logic of saying like, you're not you're using tools and stuff. It's like, no, anything that makes anything faster and more efficient and easier for other people to do, the better. All right, so after you get all that in here, you're going to come here and you will double click this so to see what that looks like. So I'm going to save this scene real quick. I'm going to add a new scene. You're not going to be doing this as this example of remove scene, right? So remove scene. So basically your project will look like this. You will click on assets after you drag and drop this into your asset deal. At least that's what I do. It's really easy. Just like grab from your download folder, throw it in here. After you have those other things, you got to have those other things in your project first. It's very important to have your on any project. You want to make sure your packages are in your Unity project before you bring in your assets. All right. So then you just go to assets, double click this. And what that'll do is it'll remove the default scene and it'll load up this scene. Now, if you want to have multiple scenes, you would drag that scene over here into your hierarchy. Yada, yada. Like for instance, if you're bringing this into another project, which I don't really recommend because, like, say if you were doing Tabitha and Trisha in the same project, their files will counteract one another because this was Tabitha at one point and then became Trisha. She's got a smaller head. She has the more what would I like to see on Avatar and whatnot. And now I'm going to explain what the differences on these are. So these are all the different versions. So the difference between full version and H&R, I use H&R. It's basically not safe for work, but it's hot and ready. So this one doesn't have the magic system, but it has all of the not safe for work aspects. And then Magic Only has the magic system and has none of the not safe for work aspects. And then Blank has literally no add-ons. It's just Trisha that could also transform into the HellCat. Alright? And the difference between the face tracking and non-face tracking is quite literally all I did was I went over here and I deleted this. However, some people don't know how face tracking works. And so I just made them over here, but it's just literally a prefab that has all your stuff on it. Be perfectly honest, Trisha right now is this base one is the most optimized. Like her texture barrier is under 149. This is high because there's a lot of extra blend shapes that are not currently being used for like the customizability and all that stuff. So that this will actually go down to basically nothing by the time you upload it. And then these are non-transforming. Basically, you turn off this. And go here. So this one just doesn't transform. It just stays Trisha. It doesn't turn into the HellCat. And then this one just stays HellCat and doesn't turn into Trisha. In theory, it's supposed to save texture memory. However, it's bigger, and I don't really know why. It ends up being smaller on upload, but for some reason, I don't know what I did, but I think this one might have higher resolution because it doesn't transform. But yeah. Don't really know what I did. Also, if you want to get rid of this, Just open up background and turn off that. Right? But I like that, so I'm going to leave it. These rocks are actually rocks that I made from scratch. Specifically for her. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make dynamic stuff. Also, if you add anything to Trisha, you have the magic system, is you want to make sure either you add whatever you add to the avatar underneath the animation, like turning it off or whatever, or you put it underneath this object. Specifically, you put it like, so you would like do like this basically. If you want it to be turned off when she gets turned off. Like for instance, if I didn't animate to where this also gets turned off, I would put her under there. Whatnot. Also, she doesn't have balls. The balls have been pretty much deleted. She just has a dick because of her pussy. Yeah. Anyway. Alright. So she has a little bit older she has a little bit older setup. Like a lot of her stuff is actually on her armature instead of off. Alright, so fizz modes. Okay, here we go. Alright, so we're going to create an empty. We're going to move this empty up to the hips. Call this dynamic floor. And I'm literally only going to be doing this on the base avatar. I'm not going to do all of these. I can't be bothered to do this for everything. So the main one will have this because this is the package I will be exporting and updating my website with. Add component. I'm going to put Ray. VRC Raycast. Alright. And we will do 90 or 90. Okay. Negative 90. There we go. Alright, and then we're going to create an empty. So we're not going to make the empty off of this because if you make it empty off of this, since we put it up here, it won't be on the ground. So we don't want to do that. And we'll call this ground. And then we'll put this here. Behave around miss. Apply rotation. Distance. Doesn't really matter on that part. And this also doesn't really matter because it's a flat plane that we're going to be using. Alright, and then what you'll do is you'll go to your floor collider. So here's our floor collider. You're going to add 2 components. I'm going to do position constraint and rotation constraint. I'm going to add 2 deals here. I'm going to put ground and ground, activate, activate, and you're done. You have made a dynamic floor collider. It's easy as that. You could actually make this the ground. However, if you want to animate it to where it doesn't follow these, or doesn't get animated this, I mean, granted, you can animate to where this is turned off or whatever, like turn it off. However, it works better if you actually make it to where these get zeroed out. So, like, if you wanted to be able to turn off the positional movement aspect of it. So basically what this is going to do is, this is on hit world, so any like world collision, it's going to hit that and follow that. However, you can do custom layers, and custom layers is literally like anything a particle can interact with. So you could have it players, local, environment, pickups, everything, although I don't recommend that. But yeah. But you don't really want to do that. You just want to hit worlds. Players, there's a lot of cool things you can do with raycasting. There's projects I'm currently working on specifically with the idea of working on raycast stuff. Which is really going to be fun. Because raycasting is kind of like dynamic positioning. The problem is it's only in a straight line and a pinpoint. It'd be awesome if there was like a cone flat effect. That would be really cool, but sadly there's no such thing as that. Although you could use a couple of raycasts in different angles and then like a different little setup, whatnot. But yeah. Anywho, I think that's it. Pretty much just upload this one. Even if you don't have face tracking, or if you just want this dynamic floor collision deal on it. Yeah. So basically what the dynamic floor collision does is it will rotate this item. So like if you're on a slant, so like if you're standing on a slanted surface, basically what it'll do is it will rotate the plane for your collider to move with the angle of that object. Also, if you place space up, the floor collider will stay on the ground, and so like any of your stuff that would normally like be like, you know, when we place space up and you like sit down and your tail, if your floor collider's on. So basically what this does is it prevents that from happening and it keeps it on the ground. So pretty cool on that aspect. Also, it doesn't really add any parameters or anything like that. It just works. Don't really see any point of like adding any animations, other than like maybe like if you want to turn off dynamic floor deal. But honestly, if you're turning off the dynamic floor, you might as well just turn off the floor collider. So you probably already have a floor collider toggle, like most of us do. I'm actually not 100% sure that she actually does. But yeah. Alright. See y'all next time.